Hey, what's up friends? This is James Hardy. Welcome to Power Yoga. So we're going to start out today at standing, and you can have your feet on parallel with one another at hip bone distance, or if you want, you can bring your big toes together and then put a little bit of space back between your heels. Once you've got your feet set up how you want them, lift your toes up off the ground and spread out through them. Awesome. Maybe lift your heels off the mat one at a time. And then when we get back down and we spread our feet into the ground, I want you to feel that you're into the corners of your feet. On an inhale, just bring your shoulder heads up towards your ears. And as you exhale, just roll your shoulder heads down away from the ears and the back. So you've got this beautiful tall posture. Release the weight of your arms and then close your eyes. Let's get deeper into our breath. The first breathing exercise we'll go through is Dirga Pranayama, the 3-part breath. So simply release your air all the way down to empty. And then breathe into your low belly and low back. Hold your air. Breathe into your mid-abdomen and your mid-back. And pause there. And then fill all the way up to the chest, all the way to the shoulders. Once you have your full breath, just relax around it and hold. And then exhale slowly for 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome, let's do it again. Breathe in low belly and low back. And hold. Breathe into your mid-abdomen and your mid-back. Hold there. And now breathe all the way to your chest, all the way to your shoulders. Relax around that full breath. And then this time, like you're quieting a child, Ujjayi breathing. Inhale through your nose, nice and slow, like you're sipping the air in through a straw. Fill from the bottom, smoothly to the middle, all the way up to the top. And then on your exhale, release out through your nose like you're going to fog up a mirror. And we'll create the sound of ocean waves with your breath. And the sound is just another piece that you can pay attention to. And as you pay attention to your breathing, we are starting to tap into present moment, present experience, bringing your mind away from fixing, solving, changing, worrying, and just bringing it right into here and now. So let your breath be your guide for your practice, and then friends, just take what works for me and leave the rest behind. Awesome. Blink the eyes open to a soft gaze up front. And with your inhale, stretch and reach your arms up nice and tall. Breathe into mountain. And on your exhale, bring your hands back down into your heart center, thumbs to your sternum. Inhale, reach back up tall, breathe in mountain. This time interlace your pointer fingers into a steeple. And on your exhale, arch to the right as your hips shift over to the left. And as you work with your breathing, you want to feel the little shifts and changes that happen inside of a pose when you're working with that full diaphragm breath. So one way to think about it is inhales are creating space, and on the exhales, your body is releasing into that space. So it's getting to open up inside of a stretch. Awesome. Inhale to reach back up tall, arc slightly back. And then on your exhale, let's switch things out. So arc to the left as your hips shift over to the right. We're strengthening through that inner left side body and then getting that length on that outer right side body. Your biceps are pulling back to frame your ears. Shoulder heads are down away from the ears and the back. And then your biceps are slightly toning in towards center line. So length and strength. Awesome. On your next inhale, reach back up tall. And on your exhale, hinge out from your hips and control a swan dive all the way down into forward fold. At the bottom, let your fingertips relax to the ground. So you can bend your knees as much as you need to get them there. And then give your head a slow nod, yes. And take a slow side to side nod, no, letting the weight of your head release from your spine. Next, inhale, come into half lift, so press to your shins, bend your knees a little bit, lengthen your spine parallel to the floor. Gaze is down, crown of the head reaches forward, And then let your shoulder blades tone in towards one another. Shoulder heads down away from the ears on the back. If you're not familiar with shoulder blades toning in, you can think about it like you've got a pencil between your shoulder blades and you're trying to hug that pencil with the shoulder blades. Next exhale, refold, and then create a ragdoll frame, opposite hand to the outside of opposite elbow or bicep, and let your torso gently sway side to side or lightly rock back and forth. Weight of your head totally relaxed. If your elbows aren't getting below your knees, just bend your knees a little bit deeper and let your spine dip a little bit lower towards the ground in this forward fold. And then just release your arms and slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, roll up to standing. Your head is the very last thing to stack up, and when your head lifts up, inhale to reach your arms wide and tall, arc slightly back, and on your exhale, just bring your hands down into your heart center. Awesome. Inhale to reach up tall in space, breathe into mountain, leave your arms extended. Step the left foot into the center of your mat, and then cross the right foot to the outside of your left. Deep breath in, and as you exhale, hinge out from your hips and swan dive down into your forward fold. Release all the way at the bottom. Inhale halfway up, press into your front shin. And on that exhale, refold. Awesome, friends. Start to walk your hands over towards the right side of your mat. And let your hips shift over to the left. And we're creating this nice, beautiful stretch along the outside of your left leg, from the outside of your foot, all the way up the outside of the leg, all the way into your hip. And then from your hip down through your side body, all the way down through your left fingertips as you're reaching over to the right. And you got it, just working with that slow, controlled breath. At the end of your next exhale, just walk back to center, uncross your legs, find a regular forward fold. Inhale halfway up, lengthen your spine, tone your shoulders in. And on your exhale, refold, hold navel to spine at empty, reverse swan dive. Inhale, arms wide and tall. On the exhale, bring your hands down into your heart center. Inhale, extend and reach arms back up tall, leave them extended, and then bring the right foot into the center of your mat, and now cross the left foot to the outside of the right, so left shin crosses in front of right. Breathe in, and as you exhale, hinge out from your hips and swan dive down into your forward fold. Release, inhale halfway up, lengthen your spine. Compress into that front shin, exhale to refold, and this time we'll walk the hands over to the left. And we're particularly interested in that right hand getting over to the left, so that we create that stretch as you fold here along the right side body. So from your hip down through your oblique, down through the rib cage, down through the fingertips. And then you're pressing into that right foot, and your hips are lifting up to the top corner of the right wall. So that really nice stretch along the outside of your right leg. And you're just staying with that breath, almost there. At the end of your exhale, walk back to center, uncross the legs, regular forward fold. Inhale halfway up, lengthen and strengthen around the spine. On that exhale, refold, hold navel to spine and empty, and reverse swan dive, arms wide and tall. Breathe in to lengthen up to mountain. And on your exhale, take your hands down into your heart center. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. So for this one, you're going to come back into that squat and lift your arms up. If you're practicing with your big toes together, you can bring your ankle bone, knees, and thighs all to press into center as you lift up. Or if you've got it at hip bone distance, make sure your knees aren't caving in or opening out. Keep it at hip bone distance. Drop your sit bones low, And then strengthen around your knees, so feel lower leg muscles, upper leg muscles, glutes fired up. Core has that low back, and then your shoulder blades are helping the upper spine, gently coming towards one another. Vertical twisted chair, so start to lift your heels off the ground, you're on the balls of your feet, and on your next exhale, you'll reach your right arm backwards as your left arm goes forwards. Your chest is twisting over to face the right wall, and watch that your hips don't twist. Keep your knees lined up in front of you so your hips are lined up behind you. You can drop low through those sit bones if you want. Just find that strength as you keep putting weight into the knees. Your palms are both opening to the right wall. And then the center of gravity is right over the balls of the feet. So you don't need to lean forward. Your chest is just located right over the balls of the feet. Nice breathing. And then drop your right heel. And on an inhale, bring your arms and your left knee up into one-legged mountain. So left knee is bent at 90. Thigh bone is plugged back into the hips. Your gaze is right out in front of you. Find an object that's not moving, and then feel that big right toe gripping to the ground. Excellent, friends. From here, we're going to take it into Dakasana, or airplane. So you start to swim your left leg back, and you swim your arms back. Find length through the back of your neck, and your gaze is out in front of you. So warrior 3, your gaze would be down. In airplane, you're slightly lifting up. Kind of think about low cobra on your belly. And then as you reach your fingertips back, bend your elbows up a little bit, and then let your shoulder blades tone in towards one another. And keep pointing those toes back behind you, lifting up through the foot. Awesome breathing. Get down to the end of the breath. We'll inhale high crescent lunge. So simply step the left foot back behind you on the ball of the left foot, and then reach your arms up tall in space. You can lower a little bit into it so you get more of that 90-degree bend in your front right knee. Let your thighs tone into center line, strengthen around that right knee, and then you can point your pinkies forward and thumbs back with your arms. Shoulder heads down away from the ears and the back, and then your biceps are pulling back to frame your ears. Awesome, friends. Your next exhale, vertical twisting lunge. So like you did in chair, reach your right hand behind you, left arm forward. Both of your palms opening once again to the right wall, spine is straight up in space. Your gaze is twisting over to the right or even a little bit back where your fingertips are pointing those back right fingertips. And then we'll exalt this lunge so you can take your right hand and grab your left hamstring, or bring the back of your right hand to the small of your back. And then left arm lifts up in space, and your gaze goes up where your left fingertips are reaching. Exalted lunge. Stay with that breath. Nice. Breathe in the exalted lunge. And on your exhale, beggar's bowl. This is a turbo lunge. So your back knee just hovers off the ground. Really increase that strength between your thighs and reach your arms forward in space. You're holding that beggar's bowl up. And we want the spine up nice and tall, so pretend there's some weight to the bowl that you're lifting and find that strength. Use that breath to dig in. Inhale is warrior 2, so knife edge of the left foot to the ground. You might lengthen your stance out a little bit. And you've got your right heel directly underneath your right knee, right sit bone underneath your body. From there, you open long through your arms to the front of the room in the back, and then let the shoulder heads just roll down away from the ears. Keep your gaze out across your front fingertips and press strong into both of your feet. Let your thighs tone back into center line. Beautiful breathing. Next, exhale, take extended side angle pose, and bring your right forearm to your right thigh, and then reach your left arm straight up in space. Watch that the left hip doesn't lift up as you lean forward. Keep that left hip down on level with your right. And then you can also reach your left arm to a diagonal if you'd like. If you want to bind, drop the left hand behind you. The back of the hand is touching the outside of your right hip or thigh. Then drop your right elbow on the inside of your right knee and start to reach your right hand back up for your left. Watch that you don't bow forward. You're pulling against your shorts in opposite directions, or your fingers are grabbing onto each other and pulling apart. Left shoulder stacked over right. Find that length through your spine. Stay with your breath. Almost there. Right on, so inhale up to warrior two, but lengthen out that right leg. That should feel good in that quad right about now. And for triangle, we're gonna keep that right leg straight, but if you pull all the way back to where your knee is locked, just micro bend and unlock the knee. It's just a really slight difference. And then on your exhale, you're gonna reach as far forward as you can and tilt down. You can take your right hand to a block on the outside of your right ankle on level 1, 2, or 3. You could have your right hand to your shin, or you could have your fingertips, your fist, or your palm down to the ground. Now think about your full wingspan opening up in space. Left arm is going straight up to the sky. Hips are drawing back, and crown of the head is reaching forward. Your spine is a crossbar in Trikonasana, and your gaze is to the left, or you could even twist your gaze to look slightly up. And you keep on recommitting to that length in your right leg. Beautiful breathing. Okay, one more inhale lifts up. And on the exhale, we're gonna fold down into a low lunge, both hands framing the right foot. Turn onto the ball of your left foot and then step back into a plank. We'll come back to this plank momentarily, but for now, lower down to tabletop. And before we do any more weight on the hands, we'll warm up the wrists. So point the insides of your wrist towards the front of the room. Your palms are down, fingers point back, and your thumbs point to the side. And then working with your breathing, you can lean back in space and peel your hands slowly off the mat to your fingertips. And then slowly roll back forward until the heel of the palm lands. And we'll take that a couple times. You can take the back of your hands down to the ground. You could do the same thing, or you could just give a little side to side rock or some back and forth motion here. And then we'll meet in hero's pose momentarily to roll your wrists out, roll your hands out. So your knees are together, bottoms of the feet are to the ground, sit bones back to your heels. And then just taking this hero's pose to roll out through your hands, move through your fingers. Stay with that breath. Perfect, and then we'll join back into our journey. So get back into your plank position. Hands under your shoulders, biceps toned into center line, elbows micro bent. Hips on level with your shoulders. Feel that strength in your core muscles around your low back. And then on an exhale, we're hinging forward, dropping halfway to chaturanga, pressing to the tops of the feet and lifting to up dog. You could also take a low cobra. Press strong into your hands, tone those biceps in, shoulder heads down away from the ears and the back. Only thing touching the ground are your hands and the tops of your feet. And then tuck your toes and shift your hips back up to our first down dog. Immediately just warm it up. Start to walk out through it. Take your weight into one heel at a time. Bending the opposite knee as you just lengthen down. And then spread out into those hands. Awesome. Bend your knees a little bit and then reach your hips up as far as they go. Biceps toned in center line, elbows micro bent. Weight of your head released to look behind you. And then from that lengthen your hips, start to lengthen your heels down towards the ground. So
finding length in your spine, strength through the arms, strength around the back, and then pulling down through your heels. Awesome, yogis. Next exhale, bend your knees, look between your hands, step or float, forward fold. Inhale brings us halfway up, lengthen through the spine, strengthen around it. And on that exhale, refold. Okay, slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, start to roll up to standing. Let your head be the very last thing to come up. As your head comes up, inhale to reach your arms wide and tall into mountain. And on the exhale, draw your hands down into your heart center at standing. We'll take this sequence on the other side, so coming into Utkatasana, chair pose. Drop your sit bones back, inhale, reach your arms up nice and tall. Biceps pull back to frame your ears, strengthen around your knees. Awesome, find those glutes nice and strong, core strong, shoulder blades around upper spine. And then when you're ready, we're gonna start to take this to our vertical twist to the left, so heels lift off the ground, and on an exhale, just reach your left hand behind you, right arm forward. Twist the gaze over to the side. And again, watch that your hips don't twist. So line your knees up in front of you so your hips line up back behind you. You don't need to lean forward. You've got the center of gravity right over the balls of the feet here. Use your breath to keep fine-tuning. And then you'll drop your left heel and inhale to reach your arms and your right knee up into our one-legged mountain. So right knee bent at 90, fingertips extended to the sky. Find that object in front of you that's not moving that you can focus your gaze on. And then we'll use the one-legged mountain, so breathe into it, and on your exhale, swim back into Dakasana, airplane. And you're reaching your toes towards the wall behind you, reaching your fingertips back. You can slightly bend the elbows, lift up, shoulder blades tone in. Again, in Warrior 3, your gaze would be down. In Dakasana, gaze is slightly in front of you, at the top of the eyes, with that length in the back of your neck intact. If you fall out of it, no worries, friends. Just stay playful with your balance. Let's inhale, high crescent lunge. So just take the ball of the right foot down to the back of your mat, lift your arms up. Let those thighs pull right in towards center line. Arms pull back to frame your ears, shoulder heads down away from the ears and the back. So you breathe into the high crescent lunge, and we're going to do that vertical twist to the left on your exhale. Left hand behind you, right arm forward. Palms open up to face left wall. Inhale is going to work a little bit to get into the twist. When that exhale comes, your body will twist a little bit deeper. To exalt this, left hand goes to your right hamstring, or the back of the hand goes to the small of the back. Right arm lifts up and your gaze can go up where your right fingertips are reaching. Stay strong through those legs. When you take your gaze up, you're going to play with your balance even more. So if you fall out of it or you teeter out of it, no worries, just try it again. Breathe in, and on your exhale, we're going to that turbo lunge, beggar's bowl. So back knee just hovers off the ground. Send your arms forward. Hug those thighs into center line. Lift up tall through your chest, and use your breath to dig in. Awesome. Warrior 2 on your inhale. Knife edge of the right foot to the ground. Maybe lengthen your stance out a little bit. Tuck that left sit bone underneath your body. Then extend out through your arms towards the front and back of the room. Individual press through the feet and the legs, and then the combined leg strength coming back in. Spine up nice and tall, shoulder heads release down away from the ears and the back.
Breathe in warrior two, and then extended side angle pose on the exhale. Left forearm, left thigh. Right arm reaches straight up in space. Stay here, or to take the bind, to drop the back of the right hand to the outside of your left hip or thigh. Dive that left elbow on the inside of your left leg below the thigh, and then reach the left hand back for the right. Again, you might pull your shorts in two different directions, or your hands might grip and pull against one another. Rather than bowing, continue to stack right shoulder over the left, and continue to reach the crown of the head forward in space. Get to the end of the exhale, and then with your inhale, come to warrior two, but straighten out the left leg. And again, that should feel good right about now. Take that pressure off that lunge. So you'll straighten to the point where the leg, the knee locks, and then just come out of that and micro bend it so you engage the muscles around the joint. Hinge forward, reach as far as you can, and then tilt down for triangle, left hand to your left shin. Or you've got a block on the outside of your ankle on level 1, 2, or 3. Or you've got the fingertips, fist, or palm just to the ground on the outside of the ankle. Open up through your wingspan. Reach up to the sky through that right arm. Shoulder blades slightly toning back behind you, helping to point the chest towards the right side of the room. Let your hips draw back as you lengthen that left leg, push into your left foot, and then feel the crown of your head reaching forward in space. Such a beautiful pose. Find the breath with the yogis. Half the work is finding the pose. The other part of it is bringing life into it with that deep breathing, that pranayama, that life force. You got it. Okay, take one more inhale into that triangle, and on your exhale, low lunge, both hands frame your left foot, turn on the ball of the right foot. Step back to your plank position. Breathe in at the top. You can go right to down dog or exhale halfway chaturanga. Low cobra or inhale upward facing dog. Maybe a round of breath or two, stretching through the body, holding tight, and then eventually tucking the toes and making your way to down dog. Okay, friends, check in with that down dog. I want you to find a few rounds of breath here. Find the engagement around the pose. Release the weight of the head. Think about the height of your hips, the strength around your spine, and those heels drawing back down behind you. Breathe in. Your next exhale, bend your knees, look between the hands, and step or float up, forward fold. We'll inhale halfway up to lengthen through the spine. On the exhale, refold, hold navel to spine at empty, and then reverse swan dive. Inhale, arms wide and tall. And on the exhale, bring your hands to your heart center. So we're going to take this sequence now, breath to movement. And inhale to one pose and exhale to the other. Do your best with it and have fun. On your inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. And then as you exhale, twisted chair. So reach your right arm behind you, left arm forward, lift the balls of the feet. Plant your right heel, inhale, arms and left knee up, one-legged mountain. And then on your exhale, swim back into airplane. Inhale is high crescent lunge, plant the ball of the left foot, lift your arms. Exhale, vertical twist to the right, right arm behind you, left arm forward. Inhale, exalt, left arm goes up, right hand to hamstring or low back. And on your exhale, beggar's bowl, drop low, reach arms forward. Inhale, warrior two, left arm back, right arm forward. And then exhale, extended side angle pose. On the inhale, back to warrior two, but straighten out the right leg. And on your exhale, reach as far forward as you can, tilt down. Inhale, left arm reaches up into triangle. And on your exhale, low lunge position. Step back, plank, breathe in. You could go to down dog or exhale halfway down. Inhale, low cobra or up dog. And then tuck your toes, exhale, reach back to down dog. Breathe into that down dog, and on your next exhale, bend your knees, look between your hands, and step or float up, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up, lengthen your spine. Exhale, refold, and then reverse swan dive. Inhale, arms wide and tall. And And on the exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. And on the exhale, vertical twist to the left with your heels lifted. Drop your left heel, inhale, arms and right knee up, one-legged mountain. And then exhale, airplane. Swim right leg back. Inhale, high crescent lunge, plant the right foot, lift your arms. Exhale, vertical twist to the left. On your inhale, exalt it, right arm goes up, left hand to right hamstring or small to back. Exhale, beggar's bowl, find that turbo lunge. Inhale, open warrior two. And then on your exhale, take extended side angle pose. Nice, inhale back to warrior two. You can lengthen out your left leg. And as you exhale, reach as far forward as you can, tilt down. Inhale, reach your right arm up into triangle. And as you exhale, we'll fold low lunge. Step back, plank, breathe in. Exhale, halfway down. Inhale, up dog. Tuck your toes, shift back into down dog. Awesome, yogis. We're going to meet up on our back for some core work. So if you want to grab a drink of water, we can grab a drink of water real quick. For the core work, we're going to go into a few different positions, and we'll do movement, hold, and movement inside of these and get your core fired up. So onto your back if you're not there. Bring your knees into your chest, wrap your arms around your shins, and just give yourself a little rock side to side. First position is legs are straight up in space. Grab your hamstrings, lift your head and shoulders off the ground, reach your arms forward. We're going to do side to side. So ready, set, and go. Reaching forward through left, and then reaching forward through right. Working through those oblique, through those side bodies. If your neck needs support, take one hand behind the base of your skull. You got it. Stay with it. Okay, and then both arms straight up for your hold. Again, a hand could be behind the base of the skull to support the weight of the neck. Reach up through your legs, reach up through your arms, stay with your breathing. You got it. Cool, back to your side to sides, forward through left, forward through right. Lift it through chest, working with your breathing. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take a rest, recline cobbler's pose, bottoms of the feet together. Let your knees open wide. And then just relax your hands where it feels good to you. And with the weight of your body, just relax to the ground. Find that deep, slow breath. Awesome, yogis. Lift your head and shoulders off the ground, and then find a reverse tabletop. And your hands are interlaced behind the back of your head, elbows wide, knees bent at 90, bottoms of the feet pointing forward. When you're ready, extend your legs out to a diagonal. We'll do in, up, and down. So when you inhale, bring your knees in, and as you exhale, take your legs straight up and lower to the diagonal. When you're on the diagonal, you want your low back to be pressed into the mat. So you don't want to go so low that your low back starts to arch. Okay, let's hold our legs out on the diagonal. What I just said, right? Low back, press down to the ground. Stay strong with it. Find your breathing with it. Okay, back into in, up, and downs. You got it. The inhale comes in. Exhale straight up and down to that diagonal. Last 3, 2, and 1. All right, yogis.
just a full morning stretch. So legs all the way out in front of you, arms back behind you, reaching from the front of the room to the back, rolling out your ankles, your wrists, and just wiggling through your fingers and your toes. We'll rock and roll up to boat pose, grab your hamstrings, and then rock up to your sit bones. If you want, you can rock back down, lift back up maybe a few times, and then we'll meet up in that boat. Awesome. We're going to do in and outs in our boat today. So reach your arms forward, your heels are up off the ground. This is boat pose with that length in your spine, shoulder blades toned in. On your inhale, bring your knees in, arms forward, and as you exhale, open back up. Awesome, so go for it. Inhale, bring it in. Exhale, open back up. And hold boat. You can do it with your hands behind your legs to really feel that length in your spine. Hands away from your legs. You can do it with knees bent, or you can lengthen your legs up in space. Try to block where your gaze is. And back into it. You got it. Last few here. Nice. Last 3, 2, do one more. Excellent. Come forward to tabletop and start into cat and cow. If you're not familiar, cow is bowing your spine. Dropping your belly, lifting up through the chest and tailbone and the gaze. And then cat is arching your back like a Halloween cat. Weight of the head down, tailbone drops, mid-back lifts high. You can inhale to one, exhale to the other, or maybe spend a little bit of time in one before moving on to the next. Take it back to child's pose, knees out wide, tops of the feet to the ground, big toes draw together. Let your sit bones come back towards your heels and bring your forehead down to the ground. Beautiful stretch for your low back and for your hips. And just that slow, controlled breathing. Last couple rounds of breath. Maybe press your hands forward into the ground so you press your sit bones closer back to your heels. And then the last bit of core work we're going to do from our forearms. So find a forearm plank position. Toes to the back of your mat. Do the hips right on level with your shoulders. And the movement's going to be bringing opposite knee in towards opposite elbow, or a tricep in this case. Go for it, friends. So pulling one leg in, stepping back. Your hold is dolphin, so turn the bellies of the forearms to the ground. And then walk your toes in towards your elbows, lift back up through your hips. Make the shape number 11 with your arms, and lift your sternum back and up in space. So you make an A-frame shape with your body. Lift the hips back up tall. If the elbows start to flare out, keep that shape number 11. Nice breathing, almost there. Last round of breath in dolphin. Walk your toes back, find that forearm plank, and bring same elbow into same tricep. You got it, stay with it, friends. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it into Sphinx pose, so comfortably let your hips relax to the ground. Tops of the feet are to the ground, lift up through your chest. Find that stretch through your abdominal wall, that stretch through your back. Slowly turn your gaze across your left shoulder, feeling a twist in your neck. A comfortable twist. And then switch it up. Take your gaze across your right shoulder. For a moment, actually, first off, bring yourself flat down to the ground, and we're going to work with half floor bow. So your right arm reaches forward, and we're going to create a bind where you bend your right knee, bring your right heel to your sit bone, left hand grabs the inside arch of the left foot. You start to take a bind here where you're going to kick the foot into the hand, it pulls your arm back, and then lift your thighs up off the ground, reach the left leg back, and then reach your right arm up off the ground and find that gaze like you were doing an airplane through the top of your eyes, lengthen through the back of your neck. You could alternatively just cross your ankles, take the left hand to the small of your back. Run our last couple rounds of breath here. And then relax like you're laying out at the beach. So you want to let the weight of your head just release down to the ground or to your hands. You can pick your feet up in space and give a little circle to your ankles or windshield wiper your legs. And then the other side, so we'll extend the left arm forward in space. Bring your left heel in towards your left sit bone. Right hand grabs the inside arch of the foot. Start to engage the bind so your foot kicks back, pulls your arm top, lift your thighs off the ground, reach your right leg back, lift your left arm off the ground, lift up through your chest and find the length through the back of your neck. A lot of engagement going on here, friends, and that breath is great to keep fine-tuning the engagement. Stay with it. Last one. Lower down on the exhale. We're going to press up to down dog and then shift the hips back, or press up to plank rather, and then shift the hips back into down dog. Inhale, right leg lifts back and up, three-legged down dog. And on your exhale, open the hip and bend the knee. Make a scorpion tail here. Lift the knee tall. Let your toes drape down to the left. Watch that your left shoulder is not dipping. Keep it strong on level with your right. And let your left heel point directly behind you. Your next exhale, step up, low lunge position. And then on your inhale, rise up into a high or a one-legged mountain. So bringing your arms and your left knee with you. We did this last week in class. We're going to go back into it. So we're doing standing bow. So you want to drop your left arm down at your side. And the belly of your forearms open to the left wall. And when you bend your knee, you bring your left heel to your sit bone and you grab the inside arch of the foot. And that's so when your arm gets pulled back in a moment that we've got the right setup for that shoulder. Pull your knees in and then engage your bind. And as you kick back, it pulls your arm taut like you did on the ground. And then like airplane, hinge forward, reach that right arm forward as you lift up, and then keep that length through the back of your neck.
Now, if you could see yourself in a mirror, you're looking to lean forward and kick back to the point that your left arm disappears behind your left shoulder and that your left knee disappears behind your left hip. And if you fall out of it like I just did, right, stay playful. These are just games we get to play with our balance. A couple more rounds of breath. Perfect, so rise up, one-legged mountain. Bring your arms and your left knee, maybe extend your left leg. And then we'll swim back into pigeon. So low lunge position. And then from your low lunge, walk your right foot over to the left side of your mat and then drop your right knee over to the right. And as we come into this one, you can have the top of your right foot or the side of your right foot to the ground. Either one is great. Press into your hands and lift up through your chest. Check that your right knee is to the outside of your right hand, so over to the right side of your mat. And then we'll walk the left foot back just a little bit and start to bring it down onto our forearms and the weight of our head to our hands. You can adjust the intensity here. So if more intense, right shin more parallel to the top of the mat, and the side of the foot to the ground, kind of like you were doing a reclined pigeon or double pigeon. Less intensity, angle the right shin away from the top of your mat, use more the top of the right foot. Either way, check that you're not dropping your hips down to the ground on left or the right side. You want your hips up and level in space so the top of your left leg is pointing to the ground. And the whole time you're just working that slow, deep breath in and out through your nose. And then press up to your hands. Tuck your left toes, bring your right leg back up in space, and just give some movement to it after we've been folded in on it. And then eventually you'll find a full downward facing dog, both feet to the ground. On an inhale, take your left leg back and up in space. And as you exhale, open the hip and bend the knee. Drape the toes down to the right as that knee lifts up. Again, check you're not dipping down into your right shoulder, stay strong with it, and that your right heel is not twisting out to the right. Press up and back. On an exhale, step up, low lunge position. And then we're going to rise up into that one-legged mountain. So bring in your arms and your right knee with you. From here, for that standing bow, drop your right arm at your side. Belly of the forearm points to the right wall. Bend your right knee, bring your right heel to your sit bone and grab the inside arch of the foot. Thumb has the bottom, fingers have the top. Take your knees closer in and then start to engage the bind. It pulls your arm taut. Lean forward so you're counterweighting, and then you've got the gaze just out the top of your eyes. Use your breath, friends. Watch that the right knee is not opening far wide to the right. You want the right knee pulling back in space behind you. That's why we start with your knees closer together. Last round of breath. Rise up, one-legged mountain, maybe extend your right leg forward, and then swim back to your low lunge. We'll set up pigeon for your left hip. So you can walk that left foot over to the right side of your mat, left knee to your left, top of your foot or side of the foot to the ground. Walk your right leg back a little bit in space, and then lift up onto your hands.
Left knees to the outside of your left hand, and when you're ready, we'll take that fold down onto your forearms. Weight of your head relaxes to the ground or to your hands. Top of your right thigh, top of your right shin are pointing straight down to the mat. Hips are off the ground. They're up in space on level with one another. And just working with your inhales, working with your exhales. Press into your hands, lift up through your chest, tuck those right toes and bring your left leg up and back and give a little bit of movement through it. Once you've got that blood flow back into it, friends, find your full down dog. On the next exhale, you can lower down to your knees, drop one of your hips to the ground, bring your legs forward. We'll do a seated forward fold. So with the legs out in front of you, walk your sit bones back a step or two, have a little bit of a bend into your knees, and then press into your heels with your toes up. Inhale your arms up so it feels like you're doing mountain just from your sit bones, and on your exhale, hinge out from the hips and dive forward, grabbing onto your toes or your ankles or the ground. On an inhale, like you were on a road bike, just lift your gaze and your chest up, reaching forward through your chest. And then as you exhale, refold, taking your gaze down, reaching the crown of the head forward. You can add more bend into the knees. If you want to take the bend out, you could walk your sit bones back a little bit away from you. Use your breath, you got it. Really feel the inhale creating that space, and on the exhale, your body releasing into that space. On an inhale, reach your arms wide and tall, lift up through your chest. And as you exhale, just bring your hands down into your heart center. We're going to take the rest of class on our back, so you can slide your hips up, plant your feet, reach your arms forward, and then vertebrae by vertebrae, use your core strength to lower down to the ground. When your head lands, we'll move into bridge, stepping your heels in towards you till your fingers can touch your heels. And then starting to lift the hips up off the ground. Shoulder blades can come in a little bit closer towards one another. You can press down into your triceps. The weight of your head is relaxed. You're pressing into your heels, pressing down through the entirety of the feet, into the corners of the feet. And there should be a really nice stretch in your spine as you breathe. One more round of breath. And then release and roll down vertebrae by vertebrae. We'll come into happy baby, so make hooks with your peace sign fingers. Take those hooks around your big toes. Open your knees out wide. Bottoms of the feet are pointing to the sky. Gently pull down on your frame, bringing your low back towards the ground and just rocking side to side. Knees are bent, bottoms of the feet are pointed up to the sky, ankles are stacked above your knees. And then just take your right leg flat out in front of you and hug your left knee up to your chest. Right hand will pull your left knee down over to the right, so you roll onto the outside edge of your right hip, and then reach your left arm to the left and take your gaze over your left fingertips. Work that breath in the twist. Roll onto your back, just bring your knees into your chest, wrap your arms around them and give yourself a little rock side to side, massaging out the hips, the sacrum. And then switching that out, extend your left leg flat out in front of you, hug your right knee up towards your right shoulder. Start to move into the twist, left hand pulling your right knee down over to the left. You'll roll onto the outside edge of your left hip. Extend your right arm out to the right and take your gaze out across your right fingertips. And then work those last few rounds of breath here. Come onto your back, bring your knees into your chest, give yourself one last rock side to side. And then move into your final resting pose, your Shavasana, corpse posture. So just lengthening your legs out in front of you, letting the weight of the feet relax open. Releasing your arms down at your sides, letting the palms turn open to the sky. Let go of controlling your breath. Let your body take back over on the breathing. And just relax your eyes. Relax the weight of the head. Relax the weight of your torso, your arms, and your hands. Feel the weight of your hips just relaxed. And your legs heavy to the ground and the weight of the feet just relaxed. We'll be here for a couple of minutes and I'll bring us out of it.
life back into your body, just wiggling your fingers and your toes. You can stretch and reach your arms all the way back overhead behind you to a full morning stretch and roll into your ankles and roll out your wrists. And then turn the weight of your body onto your side into a fetal position. And out of our corpse pose, or homage to the end of the human journey, we come into this fetal pose, or homage to the beginning of the human journey. And just symbolizing that at the end of any cycle is the seamless transition into the beginning of the next. So give yourself a nice, deep, slow, rounded breath here. And then come to a seated position. Find the front edge of your sit bone so you can pull the flesh away or walk back. Close your eyes. You could lengthen your spine, bringing your shoulder heads up towards your ears and then rolling them down away from the ears on the back. Relax the weight of your arms and feel that length coming all the way up through the back of the neck, so chin maybe slightly down and back. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether it is clear to you or not, no doubt the universe is unfolding exactly as it should. The light in me greets the light in you. Namaste. All right, friends, thanks so much for joining in on today's class. As always, please like and subscribe. If you're in a place to make a donation, I've got my Venmo ID listed in the description of the video. And if you're not, no worries, it is my gift to you. But have a great one, and I'll catch you next time. Much love.